We compete, but we're family. We're from the SWAC, from the MEAC, CIAA, or the CIAC. What's really happening, everybody? It's your boy, it's your uncle, it's your cousin, it's your best friend. I'm A. Harris Brown, and you know what time it is. You are locked into the HBCU Man Cave, a safe space where men can relate, relax, and release. Now, you know, when we come to the cave, we uplift, we educate, and we celebrate the legacy and excellence of HBCUs and all of the alumni and students as a band of brothers. Now, tonight, we are diving deep for our last part of our series for Black History Month. We're diving into the power of Black storytelling. I like this topic. I think I'm gonna like this topic right here. From film and television to books and stage plays, Black storytellers have been weaving our narratives, preserving our history, and imagining our futures with power and authenticity. And tonight, we have a master of the craft with us. And as always, I'm joined by my brother and co-host. Come on, y'all put your hands together, show some love for my man Shean, Cain, soon to be the doctor.
I'm in the building. What's going on, brother?
Listen, I can't complain. How you doing today?
Oh, I'm good, man. I am blessed and highly favored. So
listen, I heard that Kevin slid in for a hot second and wanted to do a quick check-in, and he wanted to get back on over to his vacation again, some more.
So he kind of like came on a little bit, and like I'm gonna have dinner, y'all. Man, get off the screen, man. Go ahead. He's in Puerto Rico doing his thing.
Shane, real quick, tell everybody what's happening, what's in your cup, and what's some good news you got coming up right now.
So I got in my cup, it's some Stella Rosa wine, just a little midweek thing to kind of like, calm me down a little bit, So that's what I got in my cup. I'm gonna go ahead and take a little, a little sip. The good news, I just launched my business. Yes, sir. It is called.
Don't tell it yet. Cliffhanger.
You got me.
Cliffhanger.
But yeah, I got some stuff going on, so we gonna talk about it.
Good. I wanted to tease them. Let them know what's going on. Y'all gotta stay on this. Keep watching so you can find out his Habari Gani.
Oh yeah,
and all of the good things that's happening in his world. Now listen. We like to keep things smooth. I know sometimes, I think a little bit earlier today, I had some hibiscus tea with a splash of lemon.
Nothing extra?
Nothing extra. Now, if you could put something extra, what would you put in there?
Some white rum.
Oh, okay. Well, all right.
Yeah.
All right, but listen. Let's get into it. So let me introduce to you today our very special guest. Today, his name is Brandon L. Holland. Now, he's a true Renaissance man in the world of storytelling. Brandon is the founder and CEO of Molding Hearts Production. That's a tongue twister. Molding Hearts Production, based in Atlanta, Georgia. Now, he's a writer, a director, an executive producer, and an author, whose work has graced platforms like Amazon Prime, Pluto, Tubi, and more. Now, he's brought us independent films like Bad Girl, Virtual Woman, The Love Coach, Vegan Virgin, and his latest, The Junkies. But there's more. Brandon's story is a testament of resilience. After losing both of his parents at an early age, he turned his pain into purpose, penning his first book, Living with Half a Heart. Okay. Brandon is not only a creative force, but he's also an educator with over 20 years of experience, and he teaches middle school currently. He's a proud alumnus of Alabama A&M University, holding both a master's and a bachelor's degree. Now, please join me, ladies and gentlemen, welcoming Brandon L. Holland to the HBCU Man Cave.
Let's go.
What up?
What's going on, brother? How you doing today?
Good. Thank you very much for the beautiful introduction.
See what happens?
That's what we do on the Man Cave. You know, that's what we do on the Man Cave. You know?
No, I rock with that. I appreciate that.
So Brandon, what's in your cup?
So I am drinking a mango vodka with the berry punch. So it's just a light cocktail. But nice.
It's a light.
A light.
A light cap. Yeah.
Just something for Wednesday.
Yeah.
All right. Well, listen, Brandon, welcome to the Man Cave, and we're glad to have you here to be with us today. Now, let's get things kicked off right. I'm going to start with an icebreaker. Outside of your own, if you could direct a movie about your time, matter of fact, yeah, this ain't one of your movies right now. If you could direct a movie about your time at Alabama A&M, what would it be called, and what's the storyline?
Oh man, if I could do a movie about my time there, I would call it. I'm gonna call it Church Boy, and the storyline is about a young man who is pursuing his college education. He's the first in his family to go to college, but while he's there working on his degree, he loses both of his parents, and then he starts to struggle with alcoholism. And then he just kind of discovers who he is and the path that he wants to take. And on down the road, he discovers that there was a big dream and a big purpose for him. And so, and all of that would have been learned at the HBCU. So I would call it Church Boy. Because in school, I didn't do anything really much that was like school related other than like football games. I did gospel choir. So all I did was sing, and it took all of my time. I toured and sang background. All I did was sing gospel and go to church. That's it. I didn't party. I didn't drink. I didn't do any of that stuff.
What's the soundtrack? What's the soundtrack hitting for?
Listen. So we actually have an album. You can use that as your soundtrack. Alabama. I recorded on their only album that the university actually had when I was there. Yep, and it was in 2006. I'm telling my age now, but yeah. But we're gonna put all the songs on the Alabama A&M University Gospel Choir album. It's on Apple Music.
Oh wow, that's amazing!
That's crazy. Okay.
Wow. Okay. Cool. Wow. All right. So let's get into this. So now, we're gonna talk about it just yet. So we got a trailer we're gonna show a little bit later. But before we go there, let's just talk a little bit. Let's just unpack some of I guess my question would be first is what first inspired you to become a director and storyteller?
So I got into film and storytelling because my mom used to write skits. And we used to do it for like youth at church or whatever. So it was just for fun. And so I had an opportunity after my mom passed. She used to write these skits, and the last skit that I remember her doing, it was called "I Got to Tell It." I'm sorry, what you're looking for, and it was talking about all these things that people try to be, but God is just like looking for our souls or something to that effect. So I decided to recreate that skit, and I did it just for fun to see how it would go over. It did extremely well. And then from there, I started doing skits just for church. And then I noticed that the crowd was getting extremely big. And after a while, I realized that we were actually outgrowing the church as a venue. And so I decided to take the production to the community. So I wrote my first play called The Struggle Is Over. And I think my first play I might have had over 500 people. So It was a great opportunity to get into that, but it was really just for fun. It was never, I wanted to be a director, I want to write, I wanted to do any of those things. I didn't know anything about the field, honestly. And so it was just really me doing it to have fun. And it just got bigger and bigger. In the midst of it, I learned that I actually have a love and a passion for it. And so I just kind of walked into it that way. And when I got into film, I met my current business partner, Mr. Roundtree, and he was looking for Black writers. And I was like, I don't know anything about film. I've only done church plays. And so my first film is 21 a Day. And he signed and gave me a distribution deal for my very first film. I went into it with distribution. So I was in all the major retail stores and all the major platforms. And this is around 2015 when I first moved to Atlanta. So it just took off from there.
Wow. So what was your major in college?
Education. So I majored in business education. So I wanted to do entertainment. Like I said, I've always done like music and just like sing, and like I was really heavy in the gospel world and stuff like that. But my parents always thought it wasn't a secure living, so they never wanted me to pursue anything in entertainment. So I never pursued anything. I have no education in it until I actually started to do it like hands-on.
Well, there it is. Okay. So I thought you were going to say you were like a filmmaker or something. He was like, no, I'm
a school teacher.
So your background is pretty much, I'm a teacher, but your likes and hobby turned into a professional on the other side.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That is amazing. Yeah.
And so, when people, say things like, I want to lead, my plan B or plan A or whatever, I was like, being a teacher was always my plan A. I'm doing my plan A. So filmmaking, of course, now is my plan A, but it wasn't at first. And so I feel like, once I do leave education, it's just something that I've checked off, but it's something that I wanted to do. Nobody made me do it. I made that choice. And so I love being an educator. I love kids. So, but I am also ready to leave.
Okay. So I'm just curious, thinking about the media representation that's out here on TV and film or even stage productions, what stories do you feel are missing from the mainstream media when it comes to Black culture?
If I'm being completely honest, I feel like that the Black culture is finally tapping into a lot of the things that we need to see and hear.
Okay.
I think it's slowly happening. I think people are making an attempt to actually do that, and so I give a lot of respect for those who actually do it. I think Issa Rae, she tries to be culturally relative, and she is. I think Ava DuVernay, she's tried to tell some stories that have affected our community. I think Spike Lee has always just been like has been a mark in our community. And of course, Tyler Perry, even though people would discredit him, I feel like that all of these Black creators have made an attempt to try to tell these Black stories. Like even the Triple Six or whatever film that he just did, the military film, that was a great story. That was something that needed to be told that affects the Black community directly. And I do feel like that Black creators are trying to tap into that culture a little bit more. Stories that I feel like are not told, if I'm completely honest, I feel like we don't always see the Black family the way that we should. I come from a very traditional family. I come from a family where I was raised by my mom and my dad and my brother, no outside children, and no disrespect to anyone who experienced that. But we don't see a lot of that in TV. And when we do, we always just make reference to the Cosby Show, or we make reference to the Fresh Prince and things like that. But that needs to be a point of reference, but it's not done because there are not people who experienced it, if we're honest. So I feel like as far as storytelling, I feel like that more stories about Black families need to be told from that perspective of two-parent home that actually come from a loving family, and that's not from a traumatic experience or situation, because everybody didn't grow up that way. But I don't feel like people tell those stories because they didn't live it.
So I love how you were able to give some examples of some directors and producers who are out here now helping to tell the story. So so from your lens, it sounds like it's safe to say that we've made some progress in Black representation.
I think so. I think that we have definitely come a long way. I think that now that Black creators have been given a lot more opportunities, even on the independent and major scale, compared to a long time ago, of course. So I do feel like that we are getting to the point where we're telling real stories, and I feel like it's growing. It's not there, but I do feel like that we're growing, and I feel like there's there. And I think all of the things that are happening in society are playing a key part in that, and so I think that it's going to continue to grow and get better.
Okay, but at the same time, we're gonna still fight the good fight.
Yeah,
but we're gonna still go up this hill, and we're gonna be able to tell more stories.
Absolutely. I mean, let me just be honest. Like at the end of the day, the point is to entertain. Like I don't feel like people are always trying to tell stories the way that they used to. It's really to get a check, and it's just what it. That's just the truth.
You're right on that, but you know what? I do have a 2-part question that I wanted to ask, just from you stating everything that you just said. So my first question is: in what ways do Black directors create opportunities for Black actors, filmmakers, and creatives? Right, as you being a director, and also how can film directed by Black filmmakers empower HBCU students to pursue careers in media and entertainment?
So the first part of your question, as it relates to Black creatives and entertainers, I feel like that the opportunity is there when you are a Black creator, because most of the time, some of the content that we create are the things that are brought to us are for Black people. Mm-hmm. I'm also a person who believes in giving opportunities to people who may not have the experience or training or background, because I didn't start with that. Right. So I'm always willing to give a chance to somebody. Like if I see that you have the work ethic and you're willing to actually do the work, I'm willing to give you an opportunity. Like it doesn't matter, if you don't have a reel, you don't have a headshot, you don't have all the things that are standardly required for film, I still feel like I'm willing to give you an opportunity if I see that there is some talent there. So when I started doing productions and started doing plays, I literally just, if you were my friend, you are an actor. Like that's because I didn't know anything about. All I know is that I have a script, I have this idea, and if you call me friend, I called you to be an actor. And literally, every my friends, anybody that's close to me, they've been in my productions, because that's how I started. I didn't know anything about casting or anything like that. I just knew, like, I got this idea. You got a good personality. You're gonna be an actor. That's how it started.
I'm about to put you in this.
Yeah. And as far as the HBC students, the HBCU students opportunities, I feel like that, like me personally, I know that my partner and I, we have, he has sons who attend HBCUs, and so we've had the opportunity to kind of connect with students and try to understand student culture a little bit better. There have also been students who are alumni of, especially of my university, who have reached out to me and asked me about being a part of the things that I have going on. And so I always want to give back, because I want to give the same opportunities to students, especially that attended Alabama A&M or any HBCU student, opportunities to create. And so anytime that there's an opportunity to do that, I do that as much as I can. But I do feel like that there should be a stronger initiative in this case. I will just be honest by saying, as an independent, when you're growing and you're doing things, it's very hard to spend as much time as you would like trying to groom and train people, because you're constantly working and it's such a fast-paced situation. But if I'm given the opportunity to do so, I do so as much as I can. But it's just not a strong opportunity to do that, because it just requires so much.
Okay.
So do you think, living in Atlanta, because I call Atlanta the Black haven of filmmaking.
For sure.
Right. So the demographics in Atlanta, when it comes to Black, is very huge. Right. So do you think at any given time, is it a pressure on you to try to cultivate, to our community, the Black community? Is it overwhelming for you? Do a lot of people reach out to you since you're independent and you're in Atlanta? Because Atlanta,
Brandon, put me on.
And how does that process, shape out?
Because when I come to Atlanta, I'm calling you next time, like, bro. I'm like, bro, put me on.
Listen, so I try to be as welcome as possible, but I will tell you that it does get overwhelming, and I don't know always and I say this in private conversations, so you guys were here. I'm saying this publicly. So I have conversations with friends often about people who reach out to me and say things like that, like, "Oh, I want to be in your next film," or "Put me on," and things like that. It is just there is a process, and the process is going through a casting department, which, you know, it may be me sometimes, but we work with a group called the Passion Experience. My girl Brittany Passion, she's over on the Passion Experience. Brittany handles a lot of the casting for me, but when people DM me, I do feel pressured to give these people opportunities. I do feel overwhelmed, and sometimes even like going out to like film events or places in public, I experience a level of anxiety that I'm concerned about when I see people, because those are the things that people will come up and say to you. And honestly, I'm kind of embarrassed by it, because when people say, "I've applied for your movies like 100 times, you haven't cast me yet," you know, and say things like that, it's kind of like what do you say to that? How do you respond to it? And so I get that all the time, and I'm not gonna lie, I manage it the best I know how. If people DM me, I always be nice, I always respond, I'll send a smile, or I like it, the best of my ability. But to like be completely transparent, like if you don't go through the process, I'm really not going to really take much interest in you by being DM. I just feels like if you want to really like be a part, especially if you ask me things like, you want to be in a movie, but then you ask me, well, what do I send? So for me, I'm not in a place where I can like spend that much time to kind of baby people on minimal things that they can actually look up. Like you can look up, what do I send for an audition for a casting? I shouldn't have to tell you that. You shouldn't ask me. Anyway, I'm immediately turned off when you ask me that kind of stuff. So I'll just say it's hard, man. It is, but you know, I do it the best that I can. But I usually am kind of embarrassed or shy by it, especially when I see people and they be like, you know, you're on my vision board to work with you, or I'm manifesting working with you. Like, I just feel weird as hell. Like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do that. And then I feel pressured to like give them an opportunity. I don't necessarily do it, but I do feel pressured by those kind of mixes.
All right, so let me ask you. So I want to go back and talk about a little bit about your movies a little bit. So yeah, again, we talked about how, you know, one of your latest projects is called The Junkies, and you've done some others, and they've been on some of the independent channels. You even had your own streaming service you got your own streaming service, right? And where did you even get the idea to have a platform to be able to lift your own work?
So I don't have my own platform. Let me just kind of put that out there, because I don't.
Okay, so help me. Maybe I know the website you had where you had some of your movies.
It's just a website that I use to house my content, because
there we go.
I have a designated place where people can just go and find my content without having to look through other people's content. And so that's just the idea, and the concept of that was just so people can just have one neutral location where they can find my content, because people will always ask, you know, and which I always appreciate the support. But a lot of people, you know, don't have some of the popular platforms like people think. We automatically assume that people do, but they don't always have that. But to just kind of give people an opportunity who just want to support you, who are not really into TV, to have a place where they can go and like stream your films or things like that. You know, I'm always appreciative for that. So that's what kind of gave me the idea to create a central location for people to be able to dive into any content that I have.
Okay, created. All right, okay. Awesome. So, but you got your own website where where you got your own platform of things, but then you also are in other places like Amazon, Prime, Tubi, Pluto. How does that even happen?
So, like I said, when I first got into this, I signed a distribution for my very first film, and so I came into the industry with distribution, and so to be able to do that, you know, I'm very, very blessed. That's not the norm. It takes people a very long time to actually get their projects out. This is how I know that this path was chosen for me by God, and not just something that I was doing. It was already laid out for me. I literally came into the film industry in Walmart and Barnes & Nobles and Target and all of these platforms. And, you know, that's when they were doing hard copy DVDs when I first started, in Blu-ray and things like that. And this is just 2015. So from there, you know, being able to to be on Tubi, which is one of the largest platforms, there's a lot of negative things that are said about the platform, but I have cleared a lot of checks for Tubi, and it has created a very successful way of wealth and life for me, through some of those platforms. So I'm not, I would never hilarious.
Don't play. Don't play with me. Don't play with me.
And I don't feel like enough creators actually speak about that, but. And like I said, I'm on these other platforms, from Google Play to Plex and some of these other platforms that do extremely well. Like Microsoft has their own platform now. We have films that have streamed on Microsoft, and Amazon Prime was like a big thing for a while, which still is a very large platform. And a lot of people have Amazon Prime now, and it's grown. Especially since like COVID, that platform got bigger, and and Tubi and all these other places. So, but at the end of the day, it has created an outlet for independent creators like myself to be able to create and to get their work out there. And it was not that easy before. And so, I just really throw the naysayers out of the window, because I have done very well on all of those platforms, and I'm very thankful.
I just want to get $1. That's all.
$1. Listen, I'm sliding through. I'm
far from it, but I'm just saying,
I'm coming through the ATL with my resume, like, bro. No, okay. So, all right, we got a trailer. We're going to talk about one of your movies, one of your projects. One is called Vegan Virgin.
Yes.
Oh Lord Jesus! Oh, I gotta take a drink. Hold up.
Y'all are hilarious.
Woo!
This is when y'all taking a drink.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
It's not what you think, Anthony.
Let's watch. Hold on. Let's go watch the trailer of Vegan Virgin.
You did what?
I don't think you're my palate.
Oh no, sweetie, here.
God, this is that midlife crisis shit.
Who is ready to accept the challenge to lock up Club V?
It's like a punishment. This man has really fucked you up.
Girl, all you gonna end up with is dick on the platter.
Well, damn.
It's giving delusional.
She means you giving La La Land.
Yes, exactly. La La Land. Like.
Good afternoon, man. I'm Cedric. You seem to be having trouble with your vehicle?
Damn. Excuse me, what?
I have needs, and I love my meat. All my meat.
I'm horny.
Calm.
You awful.
I'm go ahead and take the drink. I
She
feel
said
like I'm
it's giving delusional. That's what she said. All right, so, bruh. Can we unpack this?
Yeah.
Sure, let's do it.
Yes. So let's talk about this real quick. This is called Vegan Virgin. Came out in 2024, right? After a broken engagement sends her life into turmoil, Ashley embarks on a journey of self-discovery and empowerment that leads her to find love and happiness in unexpected places. And her girlfriends tag along for the ride. All right, let's go there. Let's talk about it.
Where did they go? They stayed in Atlanta. Where did they go?
Self-discovery. They just went on a journey together they decided to make a pact to become celibate. And it was just, you know how like when you go through like a really hard break. Well, I know it's different from men, and this is a female genre, so I'm speaking from that perspective.
Yeah.
You know, like when you go through like a really bad breakup, then like sometimes you just want to do things that are really drastic because you want to make this big change. So normally they cut their hair, or move to a new location, or some become promiscuous. And so on this particular journey, actually she decides that she wants to give up meat, and she also wants to give up sex. And so she brings her friends along for the journey with her, and so that they're on a health tilt. But in the middle of her self-discovery, she actually finds this guy who is on the same journey as she. He is, he wants to preserve himself from marriage, and he also does not. Doesn't eat meat. So they kind of discover the journey together once she meets him. And so I think that's what everybody well, I'm not gonna say everybody, but I think that a lot of people think that when we're talking about relationships and things like that, you make this drastic change, and then that's when your person will come. And so that's what the gist of this story is. And I cannot with you.
I had to pull me out some popcorn.
You here for the tea, huh?
He is something. He is something.
Oh my God. So now, ladies and gentlemen, you can catch out. Now, for those who are watching this on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, listen, let me know in the chat if you've seen this movie, or if you want to do, if we want to do a watch party. Listen, we can pull this up because we can go have a private Zoom session or something. We can put together something, and we can go watch this on Tubi together because it's on Tubi right now.
Yeah, it just came out in November.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, just a few months ago.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Guess what? I'm finna go ahead and Tubi tonight.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
I'm gonna watch that thing because guess what? I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna say some stuff.
Yeah. Well, I want to hear your feedback.
Look at his face.
Dang.
That man is not gonna do right.
Oh, girl says she's giving up the meat. She says she's giving up the meat.
I don't think you need to, but okay.
So, what was the inspiration behind even you? I mean, was this something like had you been writing this a while, or this was just something?
Just for the record, I directed this. I did not write this.
Oh.
This
Okay.
It was executive produced by Dr. Yaki Awaken. Dr. Yaki has a huge vegan lifestyle and health initiative. And so this project was executive produced by him. And so I actually directed and produced on this film, but I did not write it. I did not come up with the idea. And it was actually written by a writer. His name is Marlon Carter. He lives in Huntsville, Alabama. And it was also executive produced by Robert Roundtree, who actually brought me the project. So it was something that he had the idea for, and the writer helped him create. So this is the Robert's project.
Oh, so
I want to look a little bit, Anthony, just a little bit.
So all the shenanigans that's happening in the movie, you directed.
Yes.
Yeah, I love it.
I need a drink on that. Hold up.
I love a good shenanigan. Now, you know.
First of all, this ain't no church boy.
Wait. I'm a grown man now. I'm a grown man now. So we talking about grown man stuff. And just FYI, I still was promoting the idea of waiting until you marry for sex. So
Okay.
that's a church for a little twist to it. No, but I didn't write it. But yeah.
I got you. So I kind of have a question. Just dealing with, so you're based in Atlanta, right? And I have a question directed to, because you know how it's Black History, right? And Black History Month. Well, every day is Black History Month. But we're in the month of February. We're talking about, you know, things that happened to our ancestors and things that are happening with us today. All right. So I have a question. How do Black directors address social justice issues through their storytelling, and what effect does that have on a community awareness?
I think that that every opportunity that is given, I think that we always try to create something that directly supports the culture.
Yeah.
I think that that Black people in general, whether it's directly stated or whether it's like in the things that they wear or if it's a product placement, I think there are several ways to do so. One, by just supporting other Black creators, and for example, we created this like the shirt that I'm wearing. It's Black with Brains. This is our way of supporting the Black community when all of the things that happened with like George Floyd and a lot of things that were happening in the community. And so I do take the opportunity to like use these type products and things that kind of bring awareness to Blackness, so that I actually support this. I feel like that it could be done a little bit more, but I will say that any opportunity that I get to support my people and just educate people about our community, about our culture, about our heritage, I think that we're all doing it when we do those things inside of the projects and different things like that. But do I feel like that we can grow this area? Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, I do agree. And I have a follow-up question to that, because you mentioned you as a Black filmmaker and writer and everything, you with the shirt that you even wearing at this point in time, that you try to put it out there. So my question is, how have specific Black directors, which is like Ava DuVernay and Ryan Coogler, I think that's how you say it. Coogler, thank you. And Spike Lee and the rest, including yourself, use their platforms to give back to HBCU and the Black community?
Ooh, so I just think that
he said, hold on now. He ain't
so, I have to think about it. I think that so me personally, I always represent my HBCU. I feel like even though that may be small to some, but I do have people who actually follow and support the things that I'm doing, and so they are aware that I went to a HBCU. I'm very vocal about attending an HBCU. I'm very vocal about students being aware that HBCU is a great option for education. Anytime that I meet students who I know that want to start their educational journey, so it's a little bit different for me because I kind of have a leg up because I work in education, but I definitely 100% promote students attending an HBCU in any way that I can. And even students that, I know parents have students that are going to college and things like that. My brother and I, we also started a scholarship foundation. We have the MJ Holland Foundation in honor of our parents. And so my brother and me give a scholarship to students who attend college every year in May. And so, I do it as many ways as I can personally. Now, as far as like some of the other Black directors, I think that Issa, she culturally does it very well.
Love her.
She even did her her last season by, going back to college. It wasn't an HBCU, but she did acknowledge some of the Black Greek organizations that caused a lot of controversy in the media. And I do feel like that from time to time I've seen Spike, wear shirts that say like support HBCU cultures and different things like that. And I know that they probably all giving financial donations at some point. So I feel like when we're given the opportunity to do so, that we all as Black directors try to play our part in it. And I think that it's very important to all of us, and giving any opportunity to shed light on the HBCU. I think that we all take advantage of the opportunity to do so. And especially me, again, because I'm just like you, as you said earlier, when I go to the airports, I have on my Alabama A&M University paraphernalia, and I let people know that I went to homecoming, and all this kind of stuff. Like, and people are surprised because especially when you do filmmaker, they don't really feel like proper education and things like that. But that's not the case. I attended the HBCU probably, and most of even some of the people who work in film that are Black, they went to Howard and some of the other well-known HBCUs. And so it's a thing. I feel like more conversations just need to be had about it. But again, I'm not always given the opportunity to talk about it either without this platform. Like, nobody would never really ask me had I gone to HBCU and without me actually just like volunteering information.
Brandon, I like it. I appreciate the fact that you share some of that. And again, speaking of storytelling and helping scholars to and through. For those of you who may be watching us right now, and again, we always want to make sure that you know about all the options and opportunities that you're sharing with our young people. If you're looking to share your own story through education, consider applying to an HBCU through the Common Black College application, right? With just one application and a $20 fee, you can apply to over 50 HBCUs. Now I need you to head over to the Common Black College app to start your journey.
Did you know you can apply to over 50 historically black colleges and universities at the same time for only $20? You can with the Common Black College application. Hello, my name is Robert Mason. I'm the founder of the CBCA. Students around the world have completed the application and received multiple acceptance letters, financial aid packages, and scholarship offers. So visit our website at commonblackcollegeapp.com to apply now. And don't forget to pick up the book, Get Educated, the man behind the Common Black College application. Thank you, and get educated.
So whatever you're doing, help out another student, help a student reach their dreams and help them be able to tell their story at an HBCU. Again, Common Black College app. You can even go on the website, pay it forward, and pay for a student's application right now. I guarantee you, you will make a big difference in a student's life, and you're going to remove any barrier for them to be successful. We're going to take those barriers away. Now, if you would like to have your organization, your company, your nonprofit or for-profit organization be a part of our program, the HBCU Man Cave, make sure you visit us at HBCUsense.com so you can find out more information how we can be able to advertise and broadcast your programs and your offerings to our greater community, not just here on the HBCU Man Cave, but on any of our other platforms with historically black sense. Now, with that said, let's get back to the show. You have been watching the HBCU Man Cave. And again, got Shane with me today, and we got our good brother, Brandon Holland from Alabama A&M, and we've been talking about him and his journey of being a storyteller, being able to write plays, write movies, and all these things, and the work behind it. So, got a question for you, Brandon. How can, I'm going to talk about the future of and the impact of Black filmmaking. What advice do you have for an aspiring Black storyteller looking to break into the industry?
If I have to give some advice to a Black filmmaker getting to the industry, one thing that I struggled with was finding stories that I actually like and finding things that I actually want to talk about. It's hard to tell stories that you don't feel strongly about. It's hard to convey a message for something that you don't actually have a passion for yourself. I know that we get into the habit of creating things that we want other people to create, or things that we feel like that are popular and things like that. But I've learned that the path is really finding things that you actually love and things that you really care about. And whether it resonates with other people or not, I feel like if you tell it from a space of something that you actually love and care about, then the story will land where it's supposed to land. And so I just say find something that you actually love doing, and that you actually want to talk about. Like, for instance, I would never talk about like sports. I don't know shit about sports.
I don't know a damn thing about the sports ball.
So why would I go and do, I'm going to do a sports movie because I want to do one, and I can do it because, you get what I'm saying? Like, I'm going to do it because it's just something that I want to do, but I'm not passionate about that. I don't know anything about it. So that the story is just, it doesn't go over as well as it would me telling the story of someone giving like a religious story, and a genre even that I prefer. It's not as popular in the Black community. Like, for instance, so like I'm into erotic stories. I've done 2 erotic films, and when you hear the word erotic, people immediately think porn or, just something super graphic and things like that. There are some things that are questionable in the context because it has, the sexuality, the sexual component. But erotic stories, I just feel like there's not a freedom of expression in the Black community when it comes to sex and openly talking about sex or nudity and things like that. And we
So you want to do more of the Cinemax.
shy away from that. And so those are things that I care about, that I would write about because I'm curious about it. You get what I'm saying? So that's find what you love and do what you love. Plain and simple.
So you was more into the Cinemax erotic film that would show about 5 o'clock in the morning.
I would say that my recent films were inspired by Zane series. If you guys have ever seen Zane, I have a film called To Have and To Hold that I did. That was the first one, and I just had a premiere for a film, To Love and To Cherish, which is coming to Prime in the next few days. And they're both erotic films, and it's a part 1 and a part 2, and it's basically about couples who are looking for an outlet to repair their relationship, and the solution is sexual experiences. Okay. And so I just feel like, again, as Black community, we're very judged when we have these kind of conversations. But you know, it was inspired by Will Packer, who did the Twa 1, 2, and 3, like Pandora's Box and the Twa series. He did like 3 or 4 of those films, and that's how Will Packer started his career. But even though those films did very well, he kind of course, he's shied away from those things now. But those are things that need to be talked about. They need to be told in our community, but nobody wants to do it.
So earlier, we asked you the question about writing a story or a film about your life at Alabama A&M. And you talked about, you would call it church boy and things of that nature. So again, my follow-up question to that would be, if you could go back and direct a project, would it still be that or something else if you had an unlimited budget? What story would you tell? Would you tell that same story, or would you do something different?
Even with your range, would you? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that I would try to do it as a series, and I would love to tell multiple stories because I feel like everybody had multiple experiences there. That was my experience. I wasn't sexually active. I didn't have an erotic storytelling, so I wouldn't be able to tell that story. I don't know anything about it at that time. I would tell stories that I know, but I know that there are a lot of students that experience a lot of different things. And so I want people to understand that the importance to continue to pursue education, even though life is still happening around you. You know, like if I talk about like the things that happen, like, you know, my house burned down and then my mom died the same year. Then my dad turned terminally ill, and then my dad passed away, and then, you know, I went through, you know, just a lot of different stages in life. But, you know, it was just, I wasn't the only one, but I only knew about my story. But I know that there were other students there who were going through, you know, similar stories and similar situations and things like that. And so for me, that's why education was so important. I was the first one to graduate in college in my family. You know, I had a younger brother who was following behind me who kind of did the same thing. You know, my brother's the first in our family to receive a PhD. So, you know, it's things like that play like an intricate part. And so that goes back to kind of me telling about those family stories. My brother also graduated from Alabama A&M, so did my aunts. And, you know, we're a family that believe in education. He's an educator as well. We're all educators. So, you know, there are stories like that we don't often hear with Black families. Again, we always just hear like the traumatic things. So to answer your question, yes, I would still tell that story because it's mine. But I will also try to find a way to incorporate other people's stories where we can tell different stories, and we would just like create a series. Like I would create a series, and one season would be about me, and one season would be about my brother, one season would be about my aunt, and, you know, and I would just tell all of our stories and just kind of tell how how HBCUs played a huge impact in every one of in one of our lives, and how it really cultivated us to who the people that we are today.
Okay.
So I love what you just said, and the word cultivate means something big to me, right? So my follow-up question to that is, how do Black directors like yourself contribute to changing stereotypes and reshaping narratives about Black life and success?
I just think that we are going to have to continue again to start telling more real stories. I think start having more real conversations with real people. And when I say real people, I think when I say that, people who are not in the industry, not people who are not impacted by, where we can sit with our grandmothers and sit with people who are college graduates, sit with people who are alumnus of these universities and places like that, where we can continue to just combine all of these different cultures and tell the stories to where we can. It can all be relative, and I feel like no, we don't always do that, and it's not necessarily always about money. I don't want to paint that perception, but I will say that that the things that people bring are not always about things that where people really want to tell stories like this. It doesn't seem that there is a want for it from the people, the consumer. So a lot of times we'll just kind of shy away from things like that don't necessarily have to do it. It doesn't have anything to do with, whether being black or whether it has to do with the culture, whether it has anything to do with HBCU. We kind of shy away from those things because it doesn't seem to be a hunger for those things. And so a lot of times we will get caught up in the hype of just kind of creating things that people want to hear. And like I said, I just feel like if there were more conversations had or we could hear more stories, I think that we could do a much better job with that. So me, personally, like even after this conversation, I probably feel like that I'm more aware of the things that I could, do better as far as like bringing attention to Black culture and bringing more attention to HBCUs and things like that. But I think it just started with the conversation about it. But it definitely has kind of opened my mind to think a little bit more about it because I do, but not.
Yeah.
Some level of intentionality to it. So, last question before we get up out of here. I'm just curious. Have you thought about maybe doing something that involves your students, or a film that talks about students or education?
So I will say that being able to do filmmaking is my outlet from education. I have enjoyed being a part of education. I am also ready to exit education. And so I keep the two separated because stress it's still my job, right? And so I don't necessarily when I'm in my film space, there's such a freedom to create, and there's such a freedom and this outlet that comes with being away from work that I experience doing film. So no, and I don't even put children in my productions. I don't want to be bothered with kids when I'm not at school. And it sounds bad, but I'm just being completely honest and transparent. I don't want to listen.
I love the kids.
Yeah, I don't want to be bothered with nobody's kids.
Not right now. Not right now. Right.
So I don't do a lot of scripts with children in it or any of that stuff. No kids on my set. That's work. I leave it at work. So absolutely not. But it has crossed my mind recently because A-Bot Elementary is one of the most popular shows on TV. And I feel like it is so sugar-coated and so unreal and unrelatable as an educator. And I'm just, and people may not like that, but it's true. As a person who is an educator, who's been in education for 20 years, that is not real at all. And so I just feel like I was like, if I told a story from the perspective of education, I know that I'd be able to do it and get real stories and have real conversations about what really happened in a classroom. But in order for me to tell my story, I would probably have to leave education because I'm going to tell all the good stuff.
We want you to tell it all.
One day. I hope to do that.
Hold on to some of it. But listen, ladies and gentlemen.
I did have one more question, though. I have one more question. Before we get up out of here, I have one more question because I've been going back and forth, just you being based in Atlanta. And I know you have traveled a lot to do different things, right? And my question was, can the success of Black directors in Hollywood, not Atlanta, not Texas, not Florida, but in Hollywood, inspire HBCU students to even take a leadership role in the industry, and why?
I think that Black directors in Hollywood, I don't know that they play like a huge part in swaying a decision one way or another when it comes to HBCU students. And I only say that because I feel like Hollywood is just not really being open to Black directors the way that they should be. There's not always been an opportunity for Black directors to shine. It has always been a fight for us in this industry. So I know that some of the ones who are making a change and having an impact, I do feel like if they were given the opportunity to do so, then yes, it will have a direct effect on the HBCU culture. But honestly, I don't think that it do. As like from a Hollywood perspective, absolutely not. Black directors are not even that much culturally welcomed in film as it relates to Hollywood. I'll give you an example. I went to a pitch meeting in Hollywood, and so when I'm having the conversations with these other producers from these studios and things like that, they was like, and the first thing they would say, "Oh, like a Tyler Perry." And then I would have meetings with one of the guys who was working up to my agent, who was helping me shop this one idea. He was just like, don't be offended if they call you that boy or the Black guy or things like that. You can't be offended by those things. And so we're literally taught, it's literally being taught in Hollywood to just hush and just kind of sit there and be quiet, so that we don't have a voice in Hollywood the way that people think. Unless you are Tyler Perry or Easton, but they're just now getting to that space where, they're able to make their voice and their purpose known. So to have an impact on HBCUs and HBCU culture and Black culture, it's been extremely hard. It's not been a window from Hollywood, absolutely not. But, from Atlanta, it's different.
It's a reason why I asked. It's a reason why I asked you that question, because you see all these Black guys and girls who act and produce shows and do all this stuff. Lisa, you can talk about Denzel and all these guys who are in Hollywood and do all these great, Jamie Foxx, do all these great movies and everything. But when you check behind the scenes, it's not a Black director, it's not a Black writer, it's not we're not talking about Tyler Perry now. We're talking about other writers. It's not coming from them, and you can see sometimes in their acting, in their movement, in their movies, you can tell that ain't us, or that's not a part of what. Okay, let me keep watching because there's got to be a twist here. But and that's why I asked you, because I genuinely feel like Hollywood does nothing for Black directors. Nothing at all. If you're not in Atlanta, or you're based in Florida, or you coming from Texas or somewhere else that's not Hollywood, you're not getting that shine. You're not getting that if factor. You're not getting that push. You're not getting that real.
Again,
yeah,
I agree, and again, they do have that pick and chooses,
exactly.
And unfortunately, the Black culture doesn't respect Tyler Perry the way that they should. Mm-hmm. But I will say that in Hollywood, Tyler Perry is very respected. Every white studio in Hollywood, they love Tyler. And they mention his name. And anytime you mention anything Black, Tyler Perry names come up. Those other names don't come up the way that people think. And so I learned that going out there and learning the film culture of of Hollywood. And I was just like, okay, this is different. This is not what I expected at all. Mm-hmm. And they think that everything that you're doing, you mean like Tyler Perry, that's their only reference. And so so I just respect the man so much. It's so much more that people don't know, and that's why I have so much respect for him. Whether I agree with whatever he creates or like whatever, it doesn't matter. He is creating a path for people like myself to be able to go into Hollywood, in the future, and to have these conversations and things like that. But yeah, you're right. The culture for Black directors and producers and things like that, it's growing. Lee Daniels and, some of the others, it is growing, but it is not there yet. It's far from it.
Okay. Woo.
You good? You good? You sure? You ready to go? You ready to go to Hollywood and make a change?
No.
I'm just saying.
No. No.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's been fun. It's always that time of the show at the very end as we get the chance to talk about, now is our Habari Gani, right? Which means the news. What is the news in our spaces? We like to talk about the good news. It's a Swahili term. And this is where we get to share the positivity and uplifting good news from our community. It means something that may happen in our lives personally or professionally. Now, Brandon, with that said, here's an opportunity if you want to shout out some family, some friends, your actors, that you want to talk about something good, like you kind of shouted out that you got a new project that's about to drop. If there's anything else that we need to know right now to all of our viewers, this is your chance to share your Habari Gani.
First off, I want to say thank you for this interview. Thank you to Adrena, DC, and to you guys. It was I enjoy being here. And yes, I do have 2 films that are streaming that just came out and that you guys should watch. The Junkies. It's about 2 guys who are starting a moving company, and they end up moving something else other than furniture. So it's really interesting. It's my spin of like a Friday, so it's really dope. I did create that. That is my film. Of course, the vegan version is streaming as well. You guys can check that out. And in the next few weeks, To Love and to Cherish. If you haven't seen To Have and to Hold, it's on Fossil. But you can watch To Love and to Cherish hopefully in the next few days on Amazon Prime. Thank you to all of my supporters, everybody. Thank you guys for continuing to create a space for me to be able to create. And I hope to continue to impress you guys in the near future. And we are getting ready to start a new film. And so if you guys are interested in following what we have coming up, feel free to follow our casting page and our TV page at Molding Hearts TV. And because I am getting ready probably to do like 6 projects this year. So make sure you guys stay tuned.
That part, that's exactly why I said that I'm coming to Atlanta.
Come on, man. I'm going to be waiting on you.
He got the juice. He got the juice.
All right. So now, earlier, ladies and gentlemen, at the beginning of the show, we were talking about the fact that Shean was about to drop his good news about something happening in his new business venture. So, Shean,
yes,
what's
sir.
Habari Gani?
Listen, first of all, man, give God thanks for what's going on in my life. It's since 2004. It's just all good things happening. It was a struggle for a couple of years now. It's all good things happening, and nothing is done without being in its season. So give God thanks for that. Second of all, I just got created and came up with my own business. It's a travel business, promotion and travel. So you can go ahead, head up Instagram at elite _VIP_ promotions. Right. So that's a new business venture that I'm on since, I'm about to retire. Yeah. So that's my new thing that I'm venturing out on. So putting God first, hopefully it takes off.
Awesome sauce, man. Congratulations to you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Listen, I think I wanted to share with, so, for those who've been watching over the last couple of weeks, I've been having, some typical health scares.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Time I turn around. These grown man issues.
Yeah.
Right. So
I can relate to that.
That part. So, but listen, got an email from my doctor Monday and said, "Hey, you're all clear. No cancer, no issues." I was like, "Okay, I can get a bit of work now." Because I was like, "Oh, I can go to work. Let me go." Yeah. I kind of felt I felt like I feel my help coming on now.
Yeah.
I said, shoot, let me go on and pack my bags and go out of town and see a man about a dog. Yeah. So
I'm really happy about that news, man, because we talked about it. So I'm so happy.
Yes.
Yeah.
So so that's what's happening. So again, Brandon, oh my God, I didn't got so tired. I didn't got so happy about the fact that I got that good news. I forgot what else I'm supposed to be doing. So again, ladies and gentlemen, tonight's conversation was everything we needed and more. And I think, Brandon, thank you for your transparency, your wisdom, and your powerful storytelling ability. You're truly a living out your purpose, and we appreciate you sharing your journey with us. Even though we didn't get to talk about all of the journey, that means we got to bring you back.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I want to dig deeper on some other stuff. So yes, but thank you again. We appreciate you coming through and sharing with us some few things that's on the horizon. So again, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to go check him out, Molding Hearts with a Z. Say that part. Molding Hearts with a Z. Productions.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Yeah, all right, cool. And you can find him on Instagram. You can find him on all different social media. Just Google him. He's Googleable. Trust me.
Never help.
Yeah,
Googleable.
he's Googleable. All right. You can, again, Facebook, all those things, and don't forget to keep a lookout on Tubi for junkies, right?
Yeah.
And vegan virgin.
I'm watching that right after.
Just to name a few, right? Just to name a few.
I'm watching that right after.
I mean, I need to go. I got a little bit more work to do today before I go to bed. But I'm gonna go. I may just have it on in the background just to be like, okay, what's going on? So with that, ladies and gentlemen, again, family Black storytelling is more than just entertainment. It's about our legacy, our culture, and truth. Let's continue to support our storytellers and keep our narratives alive and authentic. As always, I'm your boy, your cousin, your uncle, and your best friend. Thank you for joining us for another episode of the HBCU Man Cave, a safe space where men can relate, relax, and release. Until next time, stay strong, stay proud. Hey, and stay Black. Oh, one more thing I forgot to tell you. March.
Oh, yay.
March is Women's History Month. Yeah. So we're going to break the mold one more time in the HBCU Man Cave. And we're going to bring in some ladies to celebrate Women's History Month. So now, with all that, now I can say, stay Black, y'all.
Stay Black.